All right, welcome everyone. This is a Viper Professional Training and Sport webinar. Today's date is April 1st, 2017. This is a Saturday morning webinar, and the title of today's webinar is Predictor, Aggressive, and Conservative Trades with Stops. And as everyone knows that's been to our webinars or our live trading room, everything that we say and do at Viper Trading Systems is for educational purposes only. Futures trading, Forex trading, any kind of financial instruments trading involves risk. Therefore, there's always risk of loss. You should only trade discretionary capital, and that is money that you can afford to lose. Nothing said in this webinar. Other webinars we might have, our live trading room or anything else with Viper Trading Systems should never be construed as trading or investment advice. And as always, everyone does trade at their own sole discretion. Any questions on the disclaimer? All right, if not, we're going to go ahead and get started. Now we're going to go into some actual trades with market replay here in just a little bit, but I want to show you a couple of things first. Go ahead and show this chart here. Now, I know some of you even trade, for instance, at night, and that's fine. If somebody, your night might be my day and vice versa. Obviously, we've got people around the world, and you can trade, some of these. There's not a problem with that, okay? But you do have to know where to get in the trade, right? Which is really important. Okay, now today's lesson is going to be on predictors, aggressive and more conservative. Okay, conservative is going to be a looser stop, by the way. I mean, you just, that may sound like it's not as conservative, but in the long run, it's actually, more conservative. Aggressive trader has to really make a quick decision and say, you know what, just like I did with oil yesterday, remember? We got in a quick little bounce off a mid-band. It got up not quite to the 5 ticks, rolled over, took out our stop, and went the other direction for a quick bounce down. And if you're an aggressive trader, that's the way you have to do that. If you're more of a conservative trader, you're gonna wait for it to confirm itself. Okay? And these predictors are really good at that, by the way. Let me just show you to give an example. Let's say at 7:14 at night. This is nighttime, by the way. All right, and then what did NQ do? Well, it went into a predictor type trade. When you get this first change where you go from long to like sideways to short, you're looking for this predictor type trade. Okay, now what I personally like to look for is I like to draw in my mind anyway. I like to see where the swings are. Okay, and it's important. You can draw lightning, of course, but keep in mind you should be able to train yourself to see this also. To me, this little area here is just more of a micro, okay? This is actually more like this is what this trade did so far. Everybody see that, where that's kind of like a swing right there? Now, if you got in this trade and you're thinking, whoa, wait a minute, at 36.75, I got to put my stop like, what would that be? This is way up here at 41 and you're getting in at like 36, that's 20 ticks. Well, the overall is down, up, down, right? Now, you could pretty much figure, usually what I like to look at too is what I call secondary swings. And I'll draw it again for you because I like this particular way of watching the charts. You get a thrust down, right? You get a retrace, like so, right? And you break the low again, right? And this is more the way it's doing on what we call the micro side of things. Okay, and I think we could probably draw this with lightning, but I want to do it more with manual just to show you. Okay, like so. Now, when I see this, let me show you what I'm seeing here. Let's go here, and then let's go here. See how this barely took out this low right here where my cursor's at, my crosshair? Barely took it out. So this swing more than likely is not, where you would put your stop if you were getting in to a trade, right? Because what I call the secondary is this one here. See how you have a high, a low over here? It definitely takes it out, right? That's definitely considers that a swing. this isn't really a swing. Okay, so in the same instance, if you were to get in this trade, then couldn't you put your stop here? Because this is stair-stepping down, right? Stair-stepping down. This barely took out the low, so it didn't really establish this swing, but this swing is established right here. Okay, so you can't put your stop there, obviously, because what if you got in this, like at this predictor, see how that hit that swing right there exactly? What if you got in at this predictor right here and you fired a trade and you're in right here at say 34.75? Okay, would your stop be that tight? If it is, you're probably going to get stopped out more than you get not stopped out. Let's see, look at power meters except for one, they are all green. Well, Mindy, that's looking back though. The power meters are always exactly where your prices are. I'm way back about 12 hours, okay, or 8 or 9 hours, something like that. What I want to show is a little bit more of how to see these things in real time. And we're going to get into the real time in just a little bit. But everybody see what I'm talking about that swing? Because I don't want to go even a moment further until everybody sees that, because that's critical. That to me is the most critical thing to be able to see on the chart, is the actual swings. Because if you can see those without drawing them, then you're not going to be, hesitating when the trade comes up. Let's see, NQ I think is the hardest market to trade on a good day. It's easy, but most of the time it's too erratic. Well, Greg, I would agree with that. The one thing about NQ that a person has to do, I think you pretty much have to do more like Charles does with a larger stop. Or if you do happen to get in a box and it really quickly flips, you literally go the other direction. Can we go short at the bar close at say 54.36? Well, you definitely could. But what I'm saying is, more than anything, is where would your stop need to be in this particular diagram? Isn't that your high? That's a low right here where my cursor's at. That's a high, and that's a lower low. That's a lower high, but this isn't a lower low. See how that wicked? You can see that candle there. It just wicked that bottom right there. And even if it only takes it out, even if this bar had closed down, if it only takes it out by 2 or 3 ticks, I don't consider this to be my new top. I always look to secondary. Remember, we always talk about that. Look at your secondary swing. Right. Okay, so if you got in this trade right here, let's say that you decided to go ahead and fill this on this bar, so you'd be getting in like right there, right? But where would your stop be? Well, your stop would have to be above that swing, that secondary swing. And since you just got in there, you can't really put it there even, right? Because that's just your secondary swing, and that's where you're getting in. So you're going to put your stop above that, okay? Now, I have found, right, now that's with this particular trade, but keep in mind, you always look to the left to trade the right. But if you look at this chart right here and see that you've got a predictor, I can tell you that most times, if you actually just go ahead and put your stop just above that predictor, now granted, that's like 30, well, let's say that's 37.75, and you're getting in at, say, 34, say 35, okay? That's a full 2.75, which is what? That'd be 11 ticks, right? About 11 ticks. And then if I see this swing right here, only a tick difference, I'd probably just raise the stop right there. You see what I mean? Because I know that if it's going to go my direction, that it's not going to take those out. Now, a really good thing to look at predictors. If predictors are going to hold, you're going to notice, looking back even, when they start taking out these green predictors, for instance, see how this one kind of bounced off this one, you got to trade. This one went through it and went to a phantom, okay? And this is starting to tell you that they're really trying to push it down, but it's not time to short yet because your mid-band's green and everything, right? Okay, but when they start taking out these predictors, see, that was another good predictor that bounced up. There's a predictor that bounced up. This one didn't bounce up and it took it out, right? Okay, But when you get a trend change, you'll notice that this predictor will actually hold. See right here? Now we've got our stop just right above here. Now watch this trade. See what happened on it? Now that would turn out to be a pretty good trade, wouldn't it? Let's see, how do we know when it takes predictor out or when it bounces? CG's asking. Well, CG, the one thing that you want to do on any trade that you're doing, okay, always look for this little effect like this lightning type swings and everything. Because to give an example, to me, what it would take to change this trend, let's just pretend that this didn't roll over. Well, if this was to shoot up, let's go ahead and change this to blue so you can see it just a second. Yeah, we'll get a different blue than that. Where's my blue at? Anybody see it yet? There it is. All right, so we'll change this to blue for right now. All right, if this would have done this, you know, here's your swing, and it would have done this, maybe not even that high, obviously, and pulled back, and then done this where you could box it in. And I'm talking about over here, not where I'm drawing this, like here. Okay, let's take this over here for just a second. If this would have done this, then could you have gone long? And the answer is yes. Okay, because you'd more than likely be getting a rose-colored midband and everything. And it's taking out what we call the identified swing. Okay, that's when you get those trend changes. All right, so let's go thinking about this same thing. Does everybody see what I'm talking about though? Because you know in that room, this is not a webinar that's, you know, after the fact where we can see everything on the chart. We're doing it in real time. We're drawing on these charts and we're telling people, you know, where that stop needs to be, where that entry needs to be and things like that. Right? Exactly. Okay. So if you were doing this particular trade here, you can clearly see that this is a predictor and it's saying, you know what, I'm predicting that price is going to hit its head here. That's what that predictor is doing right there. And it's doing this all based off this action. Okay. It's looking at these swings. It's looking at, you know, how, basically how quick these moves happen and all kinds of stuff that it's looking at. Okay. And you get up there like that, wouldn't you have fired a trade there to begin with if that bar rolled over because of that swing? And the answer would be yes, wouldn't it? Right? And it's stair-stepping down, it's checking resistance, and it rolled over. Okay? Now what if you would have put your stop right there where I drew that line? See how that trade would have taken you out? Now this is the hardest part to me personally even about trading. You had a nice trade right here where the bar closed down. You got 4, maybe 7 ticks. Okay, so you probably hit just one target. That's like $25, by the way, on NQ. Then you went back and your $25 not only, well, you got, you know, you banked it, but then you go all the way back up here above where you got in and it rolls over. And then you get a really nice trade. Okay. But the thing you've got to look at too is just like we did, remember on oil on Friday morning where I drew those lines and I said, you know, this is going to wick this. And if it wicks it, I'm staying in. Remember that? Well, this would be your scalp and this would be the rest of it, your runner, because it didn't take this out. It didn't take out my stop. Okay. And more than likely what you want to do is you want to take, you know, more than one contract on your scalp, obviously. But you've also got to be careful you don't get on the wrong side of the trade to begin with. Okay, with that same thing in mind, let's go to like about the time that we all get up in the morning, right? I don't know, 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, something like that. All right, now what do you do when you see something like this? You get up, and I'm not up at 5 o'clock, but let's just pretend that I was. Okay, I look at this chart and I see, okay, I've got a medium swing way up here. but I do have a low, a double bottom, by the way. I've got a low, a low, a high, a higher low, and a higher high. Okay, so right off the bat, that's starting to tell me, this could actually be, changing trends, very possibly, right? Couldn't it be? Okay, so draw your lightning on it. Not that lightning, I want that lightning, okay? So you have a low, you have a high, you have a higher low, and actually right now even you have a higher high, but this is actually from a 12 range chart. So it hasn't drawn it for my lightning 3 yet, okay? So I'm going to draw it in my mind anyway. And I'm saying, you know what? That's a high, that's a low. When did this low get established, everyone? When it took out that swing to the upside. Now it only took it out by like 4 ticks, maybe 5. Okay, but isn't this starting to look like a low, a high, a higher low, a higher high? Even this low is higher than this one. See it right here? This low is higher than this one unless it craters, right? So couldn't we do what Charles and I teach all the time, and that's to box it in? You want to try it and see if it works? Now I want to show you something real quick too on Object Trader. You don't have the copy just yet, but you will be getting it, okay? The region trade has now been revamped, okay? I've got the only copy of it in the world besides the programmer, and you just simply, you want to make sure and turn these off, which we're going to code it, obviously, to where these will be off to begin with. You just simply hit insert, and you're going to be active, okay? But look at this. This is really cool. Everybody see that? I can do anything I want with it, even in real time. Okay? So by being able to do that, move it where I want, and then turn on, let's say that if it breaks down below, we'll go ahead and take, well, let's just go, since it's in Q, let's go with 3. All right, so we've got it boxed in. All right, we've got support right under mid-band. That's really cool, isn't it, John? Guess what else I'm adding to it? See this auto PM bar close? That pretty soon is just going to say auto trades, because you're going to be able to actually turn this on and leave these turned on. But the only thing is, if it hesitates around a box, it'll fire your max number of contracts. Okay, so to give an example, on this particular one, I've got my max number of contracts set at 10. Now would I want 10 contracts? So if you don't want 10, you'll simply change that to, like, I don't know, let's say 6 for the fun of it. We'll just put it at 6. Okay, but with an auto type region, this would actually fire as many as 6 if that bar hesitates. Let's go ahead and do it again. Now keep in mind when we start this, let me go ahead and just start it the right way. I'm going to go ahead and change this. This is going to be changed to false right there, but it'll be in the code where it'll automatically come up false. Okay, so that way you don't accidentally get in a region trade. See, region will be false like that. Long disabled, short disabled. So then I'll just simply hit insert. Won't have to hit enter anymore. Okay, if I want the box right there, that's fine. If I want to stretch it, that's fine. Everybody see what I'm doing here? I can move it in real time, for instance, anywhere on the chart that I want it. And once it actually does what it is told, like right now we're going to do long outside, long short outside, and everybody knows how region works, right? Long outside would mean it would close above that region. Short outside would be below the region. Okay, so let's just go ahead and do this, and I'll show you how this is going to actually work. Let's see which way it takes it. Don't you love that? When the programmer sent that to me, I go, yeah, I like that, because you'll be able to actually move this box and fire a trade. Let me show you how. I can do that. Now, granted, that might not be the trade I want, but just bear with me and let's see if it does it. See, I moved that in real time, And if that bar closes, it will fire the trade. Now, one thing about it, I've got, like I said, a beta version of it. He's still working on getting the auto. There you go. You're in the trade. Okay. Now, I'm also going to add one other thing to this too. I'm going to let you be able to have long enabled, short enabled, and reverse. By doing that, if this was to go against me and close, let's say, below mid-band, I could reverse that trade. Okay, but I can start my trade with long enabled, short enabled, and reverse. I want it to be able to fire a trade with all three of those turned on. It won't do that at this time. My version that I get today hopefully will. Okay, but see, if I'm looking at this and I say, you know what, I see a swing like right here, maybe I don't want to go quite that low to reverse it. Let's look for another one. That's pretty much right there, isn't it? So maybe I want to say, you know what, only if it breaks below mid-band do I want to short that. And I'll be able to do that in real time on the chart. Now, the way it is right now, I can't add to this trade if I want to because reverse is turned on. We're going to change that too. But if I turn this off, and let's say that I wanted to do 2 more contracts, if it, well, let's say we just want to touch above it. Let's just do touch plus 2, and it'll add 2. Okay, now let's keep it in mind. We're going to either reverse this thing or we're going to go up, but we've got it boxed in. Much easier and much better than having to do enter, insert, enter, enter, insert, get it back to a gray box, size it, move it, enter. None of that anymore. Okay, like I say, I think you'll like that. Let's see, is that 2 ticks yet? There you go, you just added 2 contracts. Cool or what? Yeah, I just wanted to show you that today because that is a really good new feature on Object Trader. Now also, now you notice that I'm at 6 contracts. So if I click buy, I can't add any because remember I set my max at 6. But let's say if it hits a target, if it hits that target, that is, we'll find out. You'll notice that I don't have to turn these back on my copy. Now yours you do right now. Bear with me, we'll get it to you. If this hits this target, I'm going to be 1 contract off. Let's just take 3 off, just for the fun of it, if it hits it. Otherwise, we're going to reverse, right? Well, we won't now because we got to turn that on. And see, right now I couldn't even reverse because I can't add to my trade or take, well, by scaling in. See now how I'm at 5 now? If I wanted to go ahead and add a contract, all I got to do is click market order. There's 6. If it hits this target, I can take 2 more off and even add 2 again. Okay, but look at this little cool deal too. What if I just want to do this instead? Turn this off, turn that on, and if this goes above this line, maybe add contracts. Now we're already in 6, so it won't do it now, so I'll have to get rid of 1. See what I mean? Okay, we're at 4 now, so we're okay to add. Now I'm not saying to trade this way. I'm just showing you how to. You'll be able to use this. This box is literally in real time, and you can move it. If I wanted to change that to touch, you know, and literally let it just touch the top of that box and fire another contract, it just did it. See, and I can move it. You know, if I wanted more, I can stretch it. I can do whatever I want to with it. Okay, and on the fly. Now I'm in 5, so there's 5 again because it just added 1 and took 1 away. See that? And to get rid of this box, all you have to do is hit insert, and it's gone. Okay, pretty cool. Now I want to show you what else we did with OT. I'll just kill this trade for right now. I want to show you how to, in the future, like I said, you're not going to have to worry about these boxes right here. If I wanted 3 contracts like right now, all I got to do is buy them. See how I didn't have to turn those off? I could even do this, bar close, and add 3 more. You know, I can do anything I want with Object Trader. Now, the two new trades that are going to be, pardon me, 3 new trades that are going to be added to Object Trader will be, of course, the region is being updated. That's not one of the 3. It will be a predictor trade. It will be a predictor PM, which is your lightning type trade, and it will be the new auto trendline trade. Okay. That turned out to be pretty nice. We got 5. You want to just add one? All you got to do is click market order again, and you can add 3 again if you want to. Bring your stop up nice and tight just in case, and you're off to the races. Yeah, you're going to like that region. I think that region is going to be probably one of the best. I know for a fact Charles is going to love it because he likes to use the region. But remember how many times we've said now box it into, you know, include the wick to give an example. But also, let's just close it out. We don't care what it does. Also, you can box it. Let's say that you boxed it at first, like right through here, but then all of a sudden you saw that it even tightened. Let's say over here it was like this, but pretty soon it started tightening like this. Well, you could get it on that bar instead of waiting on that bar. Everybody see that? Pretty cool. You'll also be able to use it just in case you want to go against the trend. You know this is going to retrace at some time or another, right? But you've got to let it do what first? Well, you've got to let it make a little lightning so you can see it. Now, would that be decent right there to box? Do you think it would at least go to there? You want to try it? See, I can stretch this out because I don't really want a long. I want a short to just see if I can get a little trade. And if I'm against the trend, I probably actually want to only do like 5 or 10 ticks. Okay, let's see if this would do anything. I mean, it thrust up. It's trying to pull back a little bit. It hadn't pulled back yet. If it doesn't take out that top, I'm going to take this trade off the table because that won't be a lightning swing. But I'll show you how fast you'll be able to do this if you want. Like I said, if it doesn't take out this top, this is not a swing. Barely taking out the top, just a little bit. Not enough. That's like a double top to me. All right, so I'm going to take the short off the table, and I'm going to look for a long instead. So I'm going to go, where do you think I should go on that? Well, let's go ahead and take this off, and let's watch for our favorite trade, the old predictor. Where do you think the predictor will print? Anyone? Where do you think the predictor will print? Well, it looks to me like you have a swing right across here. You got a swing right across here, like so. And let's see where the predictor prints, because it's looking at that price action. There's your predictor. Let's go ahead and turn this off for a minute because we don't want to just fire the trade, but we're going to go ahead and put it in. See if we can get a trade. Now this would be what you would call an aggressive predictor trade, because to me it should be down there at least around that swing there at 30.50. There you go, you just got a trade. Okay. Well, we'll put our stop just in case, just right underneath. See where they're trying to test that whole area right there? Just in case, we'll put our stop just right under there. Looks like it's going to get it. We'll see. But see how that turned out to be a pretty nice little trade too? Now, by the way, this is a lightning swing here. See it? Low, high, higher, low. If it takes that out, that's a swing. Could we actually see if something like this would work? if it takes out lightning. Double top. I don't care about that. And I got to do this. There we go. Let's see if we get something. Double top, it's trying to do something, isn't it? And maybe not. Maybe we'll just keep going up. That's fine with me. Now, real quick, let's go over what to do in the case. Look at that. We got a little scalp. That looks like that's right at the open, isn't it? Okay, that's right at the open. Now, let's look at our chart because we did this in real time on Friday. Anybody remember? Where's our swing on this chart? Anybody? Our swing on this chart right this very moment is right here. 27.17, right? Okay, so if you were to box this little trade in, this is right at the open. This is that key time that you can basically get whacked around. All of us get it occasionally. All right, so you got resistance. Let's draw a line right across here, right? Little area right there. So if it breaks above here, maybe I want to go ahead and go along. So I'm going to put a box. And if it breaks down below mid-band, we'll just go ahead and go short. Let's see what it does. And by the way, you can box that again with a smaller box if you see it happening in real time. And it's happening right now. See it right there? See how you can squeeze that box up a little bit? That will protect your trade a little bit better if you don't have to wait for this to go right here. This will go ahead and fire, and then your target is here or higher. Okay? Did we? Oh, we didn't. Yeah, we did. We got our short. Got our short trade. I'm going to move that just a little bit up right there where we can get that target. Remember that trade at the open on Friday? Now, what have we got sitting down here at the bottom that the whole idea of this morning is about? It's called a predictor trade. Okay, where's our predictor at right now? While everybody was thinking this thing was just going to go to the moon, to the downside, remember it on Friday? Anybody? What is the overall trend on this chart? Anybody? It's up, isn't it? Yeah, absolutely it's up. Until it takes out that swing right there, you have a high, you have a low, you have a higher high, higher low, higher high. When did this swing get established? When it took out this swing here. So therefore that swing is established. That is a low. This is what we always talk about in the room where we say, you know what? If it doesn't take out that swing, it's not heading down. Everybody remember that? Now what could we as traders do though to make sure that we get this trade correctly? Well, we're developing a little tool that you'll like, I think, called the Predictor PM. Now right now, I'm just going to use PM instead. All right, and I'm going to look for a long when it goes from power meter red to green. Okay, and this is right at the open of the market. Now, what if this does break down? Okay, well, we already took a short and we got profits. We called it out on Friday. But what if this did something different like this? And it did go ahead and break down. And they always do this. They'll come back and kiss. And then you get this rollover. Okay, that's a trade also, right? See that swing right there? All right, but what if it does this instead? Bounces off support and does this. Whoop, didn't want to ray. Let me get rid of that. Want a line. What if it does this instead? That's a poor drawing of lightning. That's better. What if it did this instead? That's a really poor drawing, Gary. What are you doing? Get over here. What if it did that instead? Like that, and it breaks that swing to the upside. with a closed bar, of course. Wouldn't we be ready to take that trade rather than waiting all the way to mid-band? Is this not a long trend? Why would we want to box this in at mid-band up here if it happens to get up here? And let's say we get filled somewhere in here, and then our top is up here at this predictor or maybe up here. That's not much of a trade. But what if we can get it down here where support is, where we have a low, a high, a higher low, which was established when it took out this swing, see it? A low, which was established when it took out this swing, like that. So we're looking for this in real time. And by the way, there you go. You just got it. All right. Now look what else you can do, by the way. You can turn on PM2 right after you do PM1 and add some more. Let's go ahead and get this out of the way. PM2 is still red. Just went green. Did I add any? Oh, I had that turned off. Doggone it. Oh, well, we're in 1 still, so we're okay. I'm going to go ahead. Now, what about boxing it in at the mid-band like we talk about all the time too? Could we do that? Well, sure. Do a region, insert, turn on long because you know you got long trades going, right? And if it fires through there with like a close, we'll go ahead and add 3. Okay, now your safer trade, what is your safer trade, everyone? What do they normally do? Well, I can tell you what they'll probably do because they do it all the time. Thrust, retrace, thrust, retrace. So you're getting a little lightening up as power meter's showing. All right, but isn't a safer trade to actually bust up above, pull back and kiss? Okay, watch and see if it doesn't do it because a lot of times they do. Okay, we got our extra. Now, did it do exactly what I said it would do? See that? Came right back. Thrust, retrace, doesn't it? It does that all the time. But let me ask you a quick question. Is this as good of a trade right here, boxing it in here, or was it better down here? By diagnosing your charts. Because the whole reason that we give you these indicators and everything is so we can all get good trades. This was an uptrend until it took out this, and it never took that out. Always look to the left to trade the right. You know, don't fall for just little noise on the chart that's trying to check the previous support and more than likely going to give you a monster run. Okay? Now, by the way, you can actually do this also. If it touches the bottom of that, I could add 3 instead. Now, I can't go over 6, remember, because I got my maximum set at 6. That's going to be another beauty of this. It won't let you just go cowboying because you want to set your max at what you can personally afford if the trade goes against you. Okay, now obviously our stop wouldn't be way down here. Thrust, retrace, thrust, be right under there. And I usually like to give it a little wiggle room just in case because you don't want to just get taken out of trades right and left. You won't get these P&Ls if you do. Okay, let's see if it'll give us. Now, keep in mind that just like I said, see that just fired some more. All right, but is this as good of a trade as this was down here? And the answer is no. And even if you drew a trend line across these lows, you could have gotten in here. You'd still be in a lot better than here, right? Always diagnose those charts. Because when we draw these in the room like this, and if you remember on Friday, this I can remember. I mean, I don't remember exactly where it's going to go to, but I'm also telling you that we called this trade in the room on Friday. And some people were short at the open, which you could have been, but it was called out right here. Protect that coin at 27.25, right? And then always watch for these predictors and be ready to take that trade. We're going to have this PM predictor trade pretty soon, and it'll fire that trade automatically. It's hard when it's moving fast, and new tools will help. I think so too, Mindy, on your question. I really think it'll help a lot to have the tools. And by the way, you know, if you had this thing running like crazy, like right now, I've got 6 on, so that's fairly risque, right? I could put my stop just under there, or I could simply take some off with my feature of bar close. I can go ahead and take, say, 3 off if we get a bar close down. There you go. Just got a bar close down. Let's see, can I see your question, Chris? How do you remove the region box? Well, you can do it several ways. A region box will only draw when you click insert. Everybody remembers that, right? We couldn't perfect this one here where you could actually just draw it from NinjaTrader. For some reason, with all the code that's in Object Trader, this would not work. Okay, but I think this is better anyway. Just simply hit insert. There's your box. It's going to automatically be active, so you're going to want to have these turned off. Okay? You're going to definitely want to have these turned off. Otherwise, you could accidentally fire the wrong way. Could we add on this one right here? You got a little lightning playing out right now. Maybe if it goes a 3rd bar up and takes off, we could add, box it in. See if we can get 3 more. There you go, you just got them. Okay, now keep in mind, like I said though, that whatever you have your max set on, once we turn this thing auto, if that bar hesitated, if you even had 1 contract on, let's say you had a max of 5, if that bar hesitated at that box top right there, kind of went down, back up, down, back up, down, back up, it would fire those trades each and every time it touched that box. But you will have to turn this on and it will say auto. Okay, and you might not want to do that, but it will be there for you if you do want to do it. Okay, let's see, how do you remove the region the quick way? Well, you can do it. There's another way to do it. You can just simply change object types, or you can hit insert and it's gone. Okay, you don't have to hit enter anymore once you get these new scripts, that is. Okay, I think a lot of people are going to like this too, simply because you're going to be able to make some really, really good trade decisions and, you know, box in and things like that, and then, you know, quickly turn on your little box to active, that type of thing. Let's see, let's look at, it's getting a little tired. Now remember, this ray will not work if I draw this ray without turning wedge on first. Remember that, everyone? So what you got to do with wedge, and I mentioned this in the last webinar, you want to be in the wedge mode, draw your ray. Let's say, for instance, if it was to decide to take out that ray and I wanted to actually go you know, short instead, or protect some of my coin. Now it looks like it's running, so what would I do now? I'd change my ray, wouldn't I? We'll see. Let's just let it see if it'll go. Now you could pretty much change your ray, couldn't you? Everybody see that? And look, it took it out. Isn't that cool? Now draw on your charts and let's see where the next trade is on this chart. We already are missing this one right here. See the little predictor? It's right on top of the swing, like so. But we're already in a trade, so let's just go ahead and put our stop just underneath predictor and ride this trade and see what we get. It didn't seem to fire. I didn't turn it on. Pat, I didn't have these turned on. I was going to do that, but I just drew my ray instead. I didn't ever turn that the short on. Where you could have flipped it as far as that goes if you wanted to, but I'd be careful flipping, because what's the overall trend right now? Well, the overall trend is up. So you want to use these more to just get out of contracts. Like if I was in 6, I'd use that to get out of like 3 of them, you know, and it would be just like clicking the sell button. Okay. Now let's see if we can get another trade. We already missed this when it bounced right off my line, see it? So we're going to wait. And let's do, today is more on the, based a little bit more on the conservative side. Let's try a conservative trade. You want to? Let's see, we need to get a thrust, a retrace, and another. So we need an ABC. All right, so let's wait for an ABC. Or this thing's just going to head back up and we're not going to get it. Let's see if we can get an A, B, C. There's an A, B. There's a C. Everybody see that? A, B, C. Now what could I do? I could turn on predictor. Pardon me, predictor PM will be the new trade. And we'll just simply say this is our predictor PM. And we will turn this on. And if this goes green, we'll fire a trade. Now, where would it go green, everyone? Well, right now you have a low. You got a little high right over here. See it? So if it breaks that 38.15, we should look into the left to trade the right. That should turn green. Let's see if it does. Now, if we go lower, obviously, we have to get a low, a high, and a higher low, or take out this side here, and it did. See that? Just took out that side. So we now have a PM predictor trade going. We get our targets out of the way, right? Both predictors fired at the same time, so I can't turn on PM predictor 2. And I would probably put my target right up there at that predictor, because they go from predictor to predictor, don't they? At least give you that kind of moves. And the answer to that is yes. Won't you like having that trade automated? Yeah, I can't wait to get that trade automated, actually. The trend line one I'm looking forward to too, but I think on the trend line one you're going to want to use Renko bars. You don't want to just get in on little 4-range bar breaks. Yeah, that's a real accurate entry, isn't it, Carl? And see, the thing is, if you looked at this, if you fired right at the predictor, you would have gotten a scalp. Well, we missed that while I was talking. But here was another one right here. But I can tell you this, that when they do these ABCs, they're a lot better. You know, like here, for instance, you had a top, A, really didn't do a B, did it? So A, B, C. See there? Thrust, retrace, thrust. What's this? Thrust, retrace, thrust. That's what they normally do. And you get these what we call ABCs. And we're not the only one that calls them ABCs. They're retracement trades is what they are. Okay, PM meter is red. What do you think? We got 2 on. Let's, for the fun of it, if we get an ABC, that is. Or what about a new predictor trade that we're looking for right at that predictor to see if we can get a trade? You want to fire it just like it's a new one? All right. Let's just close this out then. Let's see if we can get it. PM trade. Predictor's got to go green. No green yet. Now, I wouldn't fire this here. I'd be turning this off because I would not want that trade if it popped that. And if you did, you'd have to put a pretty tight stop. Still red. Everybody see where the predictor would fire? Close above that swing right there, it would fire. There you go, you just got it. Now, did we want it there? Well, guess what? You already got it there, so you're going to have to hold on to the trade. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my stop just underneath predictor for right now, just to see if it'll hold. And if it doesn't, then we'll be out of the trade. That's decent. Let's go to break even now. This looks like to me like it's double topping. I don't like it particularly. So what would you do if you wanted to stay with this trade? Well, you got no choice. You got to move this stop. Everybody see why I'm moving that stop? because you're topping out, but you've got a low here, a high here, and barely a higher high here. Well, if this is going to continue up, I don't want this low taken out. Okay, so I'm just going to put my stop at my predictor. But in reality, would you close it? Well, you could, because you could always go back in it, right? Because look how many predictors you're getting across there. You got 3 already across there. One of them's going to work, though. You know, you can pretty much tell they will. You want to go one again if we happen to get a predictor or a PM? It already turned green. We missed it. That turned out to be a decent trade, though, didn't it? Everybody see how that works? Not too shabby of a way to trade, by the way. So what are we going to do as Viper traders in the future now? We're going to watch for these predictors. Because don't predictors actually kind of predict where the price is going to go? You want to see if it works for the rest of the day? This is like 10 o'clock in the morning. We've got about 9 minutes left. Everybody, you want to see if we can get another one? Let's just close it. And if that gets down to predictor, let's look at our chart real quick. We got a swing right here that's identified. Top, bottom, higher high. So they can't take that out if we're going to head up. So we can put our stop just under predictor if we do decide to take one of these. We're going to look for the trade right here at predictor, like so. And you want to take aggressive, or do you want to take the conservative route? There's going to be 2 trades on your new object trader. One of them is going to be an aggressive, which is simply if it touches that line and closes above it, it will fire the trade. Like right there, it would have already fired it. See it? Okay. The less aggressive would be power meter. What if it does that, though? That's the one thing that power meter hates, because guess what? You had to take out the swing to the left. It's either going to make it swing on the right or it's going to take out the swing on the left. That's the way it's designed. All right. Now, it looks like we're okay on this, but did you like getting that trade all the way up here? I don't either. But what if it would have done this instead, and you would have just simply done a little bar up, and a bar down, and then broke? It would have fired right above there. But everybody see why it fired where it did? If you draw your lightning, you'll see it. That's a swing right across here, like so. And this never did a zigzag on this side. So it had to take out the one on the left. That trade, like I say, I don't like as much. Do they work? They do work, though. But if you get into a trade like that, put your stop just underneath predictor. Okay? Because if this trade's going to really head up, those predictors are going to hold. SP and predictor combined, wouldn't that give a better entry? Well, see, Lee, on your question, though, let me show you what I'm talking about why that trade fired way up here. Because what you have to have when you use predictor or PM type trade, let me show you real quick. See this right here? Let's just pretend this is a real chart, because I actually drew this off a real chart. Okay? This is a low, this is a high, this is a higher low only when it takes out this swing here. So it has to have that lightning effect. On that other side, it was more like this. The bars just went straight up. So when it does that, it has to actually, let's go to this one here. Let's say these bars went straight up. When would this trade have triggered? It would have triggered right above that. That's the lightning swing, looking to the left to trade the right. Okay? Now, if it would have zigzagged like this, where would it have filled? It would have filled all the way down here. See? So it would have been a much better entry than here. That's why when it does this type of trade, where those bars go straight up, there is no zigzag. But we've got safeguards built into the script, and that is that it still looks to the left, and it sees the lightning. Okay? It's actually a lightning watcher, me show you how it reads it. Where is your identified high on this side of the chart? Isn't it, you have a high, a low, a lower high, a lower low, but did that actually take out that low enough to establish that? And the answer is no. So then you go a low, a high, higher low, so it doesn't establish that swing. When does this swing get established? Right here or here as your lightning, when it takes out that swing now. So if you leave that line on the chart, isn't that where it actually fired the trade? When it took out that swing. So it's looking to the left to trade the right. Okay, now you'll notice that while we've been playing around here, we have a trade that's kind of going against us now. See, we're red. But what would you do in a case like this? Well, what I do in a case like this is I look at the established areas, high, low, higher high. Doesn't that actually tell you that this swing is right here? Look at that predictor right there. Now, would I be pretty safe in staying in this trade? Now, granted, whoa, wait a minute, I've got to stop way up here, but I got in way up here. So I've got to take that chance, don't I? You want to see if it played out? If it takes us out, it takes us out. Now, where's the swing established? Right here. Everybody see that? Now we're flat. But see how that held? Your lightning is so important on your charts. And the thing is about lightning, nobody can say, well, lightning is going to be at 54, 40, 75. Well, you don't know that until it forms. Because just like over here, remember when those bars went straight up, there was no lightning there. That's your lightning swing right there. So when it doesn't get this little zigzag over on this side to fire the trade on a PM, it has to take out the left side. And that's a breakout trade. You notice when it broke that swing right there, that it immediately did a turnaround and checked the low? That's what they do. And that's why if you're going to stay conservative on trades, you've got to basically see the overall trend. And if you get in on a wrong part of a trade like that did just right there, you really don't have any choice but to stay either in the trade, get out of it immediately, you know, if it happens to come down and takes this out. But then what happens? You end up getting in a trade, it comes down against you, so you take it out, and you think, wow, I'm not going to get in here again. And then you jump in when it takes this out, and you're back in the same boat again. You're taking breakout trades. Okay, well, let's play it out for the rest of the afternoon and just see what it did. And then we'll wrap. I'm just going to let it play. Now, real quick on this chart, does everybody see? I'm going to get rid of this lightning right here, but I'm seeing something on this chart that we call out live in the room all the time. High, low, barely higher high. So if they take this out, 54, 42, 50, what do you think is going to happen on this chart? Now, we don't know it is yet because this is basically double topping because they barely took it out. Anytime they barely take it out, see how this took it out a lot from this side and then it comes down and gives a higher low? Well, this barely took it out, so this is your low. So if you got in a trade like anywhere in this area like this right here, okay, you'd have to put your stop accordingly, right? Let's say that we box this in, okay, and we want to go ahead and take a quick trade. You want to try it and see? We'll do a region. Insert. And I'm going to look for right on top of that swing. And if it happens to break out, I'm going to take it anyway, but I'm going to dip the toe. Let's see what happens on this trade. We need more than a touch, probably a touch plus 2. There you go, you're in it. Okay, now in a case like this, where would our stop be? Well, in this case, see how your lightning's trying to break this little swing here? I would go ahead and put my stop just underneath that swing, just in case. You see why I'm doing that? Because we're kind of topping out a little bit, and this is a high, a low, a lower high so far. Now it's even a high, so this is your swing now. As soon as it takes this out, that is. Okay? And now your stop can be nice and tight on that. But where would this trade actually do what we call breaking to the other side if it does break down? Well, you got two of them now. You've got this one here is your primary. This is your what I call your medium swing. See your lightning 3. And you want to see, I don't know what it did in the afternoon, but that's done a lot. Everybody do counting, by the way, when you trade. Thrust, retrace, thrust, retrace, thrust. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and you're on your 7th one. More than likely in the afternoon that's going to break down. We'll see. It may just head up for the day. If it does, it does. How about that? It broke down, didn't it? Now, how did we know, for instance, if we wanted to short this, could we have shorted that right there? And the absolute answer is yes. Because what was it doing before that? It was getting a high, a low, a higher high, a higher low, a higher high, a higher low, higher high, higher low, and even a much higher high again. So that is what we call our medium swing. Notice that when this made these red even here, that each time it was not taking out those type of swings. Draw it and you'll see it. See there? You have a low, a high, a higher low, higher high. Higher low when this swing's taken out. Never took that swing out. Notice that? Why did we trade that on Friday? Because it never took out that swing. High, low, much higher high establishes that low. High, low, barely higher high, still establishes that low right there, right at the time. But then when you get this low and it takes out this high, it establishes that one. When you get this high, this low, and this high right here, barely above, but it still establishes that one. Then you get a high here, a low here, and a high here, and it establishes that one. And that's when it broke. And that's the best way that you can possibly look at trading, in my personal opinion. Because this was an uptrend all the way, right? Just the way we teach it, just exactly the way this is right here. But when this was taken out right here, that was an established medium swing. Could you short it? And the answer is yes, even with that green background. And we do it all the time. Okay? That's the whole thing about trading. You've just got to see, what they're doing at any given moment and then take the trade. Okay? Now, let's look at overall. Is this actually much of a downtrend yet? Not really, because if you look at a little bit larger swings, thrust, retrace, thrust, retrace, thrust, retrace, thrust, they're barely taking out this swing here, and this is your secondary swing, and they barely took it out. So this could actually go either way. And you want to see if it did? Let's see if it did. There's a little predictor type trade that just set up. Do I have any data? Yeah, I still have data. Let's get rid of this. Still got some great trades though. It came right down to support. You could have grabbed that even. Look at that. It's breaking back up. See there? But wouldn't that have been a great short? Way up here. And then what did it do? It tested here, rolled over, and it was starting to get these higher lows. See your thrust, retrace, big thrust, retrace. So you've actually got some pretty good setups there. And this thing was all over. There's the end of the day right there, by the way. Okay, does everybody see how to use the new region when you get it? You're going to have the ability to fire market orders again, just like you should. You'll have the max contracts, which you definitely want to set if you're going to start using these auto features. Because if you don't ever want to go above like 3 contracts, to give an example, then don't turn on bar close on auto if you have max set at 10, because it'll fire all 10. Okay? All right. Anybody have any questions before we wrap? I hope this webinar helped everyone out. We try to make them, as informative as possible. And if you'll learn to box in and draw trend lines and things like that, and by the way, this new script that we're going to have for you, it'll literally fire this trade if you set it. Even though that's a green background and everything, it would fire that trade short, because we're going to be looking for X number of bars like in the straight up direction. And if you looked at a larger bar, these are large bars, okay? And that would have definitely gotten that short. Would it actually get another long? Well, very possibly. But it's after hours now. It's already at the end of the deal. All right, let's trade on Monday morning. Thanks everybody for coming. Hope you enjoyed the webinar. And always remember, when they're stair stepping up, they're still long trends. If they start breaking those stairs, they're stair stepping down, and you can definitely short those. Okay, and if you don't trust it like that, draw a trend line under it. You can still see that it's breaking that trend line even way up here, and maybe you better get ready for a short. See what I mean? Okay, let's go ahead and wrap it up. Thanks everyone for coming. Hope you enjoyed it. Well, Chris, on your question, if you're not in the trade when RE is turned on at this time, it will not fire, but that is being remedied as we speak. You will be able to actually do this as of the new version if you want to turn on a region. Let's say, for instance, you wanted to fire a region like that. I don't know. Let's just say you did. You'll be able to do this. You'll be able to have it fire short. You'll be able to move it in real time. Let's say, for instance, it breaks down, but all of a sudden hits support down here, makes a little box, starts heading back up. You'll be able to actually drag this in real time, size it or whatever, and boom, take it back to the upside. Because we've designed this now to where you'll be able to do this with it anytime you want to. Move it, size it, whatever. Can you remove the region by delete button? No. Chris H., you wouldn't want to do that, because if you hit delete, well, actually you can. Maybe he changed that where you can. Insert, delete. Yeah, evidently that's what he did. Usually if you hit delete, let's say if I try to delete that lightning line and I hit delete, it's going to say this object was drawn by an indicator or a strategy, which means you don't want to delete it. But evidently while my programmer was doing this, he made insert and delete. So yes, you're right. We found a function I didn't even know it was doing. So you will be able to hit delete. Okay, we'll rewrite these manuals as quick as possible once this all gets out. And just remember, this isn't going to be like a holy grail or anything like that, but it will let you be able to see the trades in real time a lot better. And when we get up in the mornings and we see these beautiful trades like this, why would you want to be short here for 5, 6 ticks when your swing was over here and it was obviously already an uptrend? Wasn't that an uptrend before that ever formed there? So always draw on your charts. All right, thanks everyone.